Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Find Your Voice podcast. My name is Freya Casey. I'm a professional singer and vocal coach, and I'm passionate about really working on my mindset so that it serves me to be the happiest I can be and to live my dream life. Now, of course, I'm making this at a time where the decision is probably almost made. By the time you watch this, you may already know the outcome, but this will probably be the most unpolitical video that you will watch because I'm a very unpolitical person. That doesn't mean I don't have my opinions. I definitely have my opinions. I definitely have values, morals, and things I believe in and things that I agree with and don't agree with. And I don't voice it publicly. And I'm actually not going to voice my opinion whether I think, politically Donald Trump or Kamala Harris should win the election. I do have my personal opinion, but here's the thing. I strongly believe that it is so wrong to demonize anyone who doesn't believe the same that you believe. That goes for religion, that goes for political views. And what we have seen lately, and this is not the first time, during COVID, this happened also. I live in Germany. We have something similar when elections happen here, and they happen frequently because there's not just the big election where we vote for the entire country in the government, but there are also local elections, and then it's always a big deal, and we have this polarizing party that is completely demonized, and it always seems like one side always demonizes the other. And watching lately all that has gone on from all the different media outlets, and I'm talking about independent media and also non-independent media, it's just been crazy. And it has reminded me exactly of what happened during COVID, that when someone didn't agree with maybe what someone else or what should be, what's the good thing to do, then it was literally friendships got destroyed. I experienced this because I'm part of a group of musicians who are all professionals, and we do this project. It's a big project. And one person decided to speak out against what's happening on what the government was doing. So he took place in some protests and was part of that, just as a participant, not really any big role in it. And basically, the organizer of the event that we always do said, well, you cannot be part of this anymore because you're kind of against everything, and that's not a good thing. So I feel like right now, the situation in the past few weeks, and I'm making this video now because now, by the time you watch this, probably it's over. No more arguing, and yes, maybe arguing after, because half the country of the United States is probably going to be happy with whatever the outcome was of the election, and half the country will not be, or slightly more or less than half the country, depending on how many people actually voted. Just think about it. If you're demonizing half of a country or half of people, I think there are always two ways to look at it. That's a good illustration. There are two ways to look at everything. And I personally don't believe that whether one side or the other is actually going to be, in the White House, I don't think that it's the end of the United States as we know it. I don't believe it, because here's the truth. Really, power is where money is. Power is where the money flows. And really, it's so much more than just the person who is in the White House. Money flows, and there are a lot of things going on that we are not aware of. It's so much more complex. And it's not like one person gets to decide everything and there's no parliament, there's no Congress anymore. That's not true. There are still other people involved in all the decisions. Yes, does that one person, especially in the US, does that one person, the president, have a lot of power? Yes, it is true. But I'm completely against, is it possible in today's world to actually have an election and talk no bad talk about the other side? Is that possible? I don't think it is. It doesn't seem to be possible. Can we just focus on what good things someone wants to do, or even what good things someone else has done? Wouldn't it be so awesome if we could just talk to one another like human beings? It just amazes me at how tolerant we all want to be. And we always talk about including everyone who has preferences, different sexual preferences, different religious preferences. We want to be tolerant. We want to be including everyone, but at the same time, demonizing everyone who believes something different politically. I think that is not the right way to go. And I think I always actually love listening to all the different sides. I love not demonizing the person, but really trying to understand, okay, where are they coming from? Could this be something good? And a lot of times I had to learn in my life that when I thought I was absolutely right and I was 110% sure, no, you're wrong. I'm so right. And I looked it up and turned out I was actually not right. This happened more than once. And just wanting to prove that you're right, it could never be the goal. It's not helping anyone. The fact that you're right, does it help you to be right? And when I have conversations and when I even talk to anyone, it's like, I don't even have to prove that I'm right. My viewpoint is always legitimate because if it is what I believe, it doesn't matter if someone agrees with it or if it's wrong. If it's what I want to believe, then that's legit, as long as it's not hurting anyone else. And hurting is what is the definition of hurting? We're talking about physically actually hurting someone or doing something that would derail their lives. And I think there are not a lot of things we can do, even politically, that would completely derail someone's lives in our Western societies. So I'm talking about all of North America, most of Europe. We would call these democratic countries. And although they're technically not all democracies, but republics, which is slightly different, but we have a democratic viewpoint. We want everyone to be involved. We never want one person to have all the power again, like what happened in Germany in history. This can never happen again. But then again, back then no one demonized one side, and it's just, we neither want to put someone on a pedestal nor do we want to demonize someone, but we want to really think, I have an opinion and that's okay, but I respect everyone else's. But ultimately, we still need to make a decision. And in a family, it's the same way. In a company, it's the same way. Even though maybe not everyone agrees, we need to ultimately get on the same page so that we can move on and have one common goal of making everything better. And that, of course, everyone has a different idea of how they want to live. But I feel like as long as in the family unit, we have the freedom to live the way we want to live, I don't believe in the horror scenarios of, in YouTube, you see so many videos with the titles, this is the end of whatever, or like financially, like money it's the end of everything and it's the next depression is coming. And yes, technically there are always ups and downs. And yes, the next depression is coming at all times. The next downfall is coming. The next period of maybe good economy will come after that. And it's a normal part of life that there is an up and down. It's never static. There's always movement and it moves up and down, and it's just part of life. It's what nature does. There are seasons for everything. But overall, I always try to look at it from the viewpoint of the universe. In the scope of the universe, when you take a few steps or a lot of steps back, you actually realize that none of this is earth-shaking, much less universe-shaking. So whatever happens, we make so much of it, we get so worried. And I tell you, don't get so worried, because it doesn't even matter who's going to be in the White House in the end. No, we're not going to be the US, and I'm not even in the US. I'm a German citizen. The US is not going to become a communist country. And it's also not going to become this, I don't know, like dictatorship. It's not. It will not. I'm pretty sure. And also in Germany, Hitler is not coming back because maybe the right party is going to win. And also, we're not going to become a communist country because the left party wins. I think there's so much more to it. And I know we get afraid because in history, we see these things. We see, communism, we don't want to be like that. But you know what? Honestly, even China, I think there are people who actually like it the way it is there. And maybe some don't, but there are people who like it. And also in Russia, there are people who like the way it is. And actually, there are quite a lot of supporters of Putin in Russia because maybe they have a different outlook on things. And so always trying to understand the other side of maybe because it's different than what I know and what we feel is the good thing, maybe it's not bad just because it's different. Maybe not everything about it is good. And you know what? It's really funny because in Russia, a lot of people talk about how bad it is in this Western world and in Europe and in the US and how terrible it actually is and how little freedom people have, which is really funny sometimes because it's always like we sit on our high horses and always feel like, oh, no, what we do is just the best and everyone else is just wrong. It happens with belief systems like religion. It happens all the time. I was like, no, everyone else is wrong and everyone else is a sinner and everyone else is going to go to hell. We're really sad for them. But everyone needs to believe what we believe because that's the only truth. I just don't believe in that anymore. I feel like we have a lot in common and we need to really focus on what we have in common and how we can communicate and talk to each other. I know this is very generic what I'm saying right now, but it just struck me. I had a screenshot of 2 posts on X that came like right next to each other. And it's just crazy that because both sides are doing exactly the same thing, which doesn't make it right. Okay, again, this was the most unpolitical video you will ever have seen because it's really just about my philosophy of existing together, coexisting. And I wish you the strength to not have to be right, because it does take a lot of self-control sometimes. I know it because I'm kind of no, I know it. It's really hard for me sometimes to let go of this. I have to be right and I have to prove everyone wrong. You don't have to prove anyone wrong. You don't have to prove you're right. What matters is your life. How do you live your life every day? Do you lead by example? Oh, okay. I'm never going to talk about politics again. Have a great day. Be blessed. Talk soon.